Hi, Dagobert from Dagobert Stackworld here on the Gold Coast at number 8 Centreview Drive at Broadwater, Disney Harbour Town. Hey, this weekend we've got some okay weather. So we're going to have a bit of westerlies blowing, but fishable offshore in close. But just be careful, the weather is meant to sort of be gusty at times and then drop off, and then it sort of picks up again later in the day. And there's a bit of swell around too. The swell's meant to come back in over the weekend as well, up to 2 to 3 metres. So we want to be careful on that. But at the moment, it's running about maybe metre 1.2 on the sets, but we'll see what happens there. But offshore, I would definitely go snapper fishing if the weather's okay and the seaway's okay. In close, some really big fish the last 2 days caught, guys. So I was out last Sunday. We got a few around that sort of 50 centimetre size. We missed the hot bite in the morning. A couple of my mates were out there right on the mark, and they got some good fish around that 70 centimetre, 60 centimetre size, and got their bag limit of 8 fish pretty quick. And well, we got a few too, and a few parrot. They got a few parrot as well. But the bigger fish the last 2 days have really definitely come on. Like I'm talking fish in the mid to high 80s, and not by one guy, but by quite a few boats and a few fishermen. So they've just turned up, which is great. There's some really big cobia been caught in close the last couple of days as well. So guys have been fishing live baits and catching cobia. Like I saw one picture of one which we'll post in our fishing report tomorrow, but it had to be high 30 kilos, maybe 40 kilos. It's a big fish, and quite a few around that sort of 20 to 30 kilo mark. So some really big fish out there at the moment in close. He's got a bit of live slimy yakka or tailor at the back. I dropped one down the bottom, one mid-water and one on the top on a balloon, and just drift in the whale highway, which is anywhere between 35 and 50 metres deep, or anchor up on a pinnacle where there's plenty of bait, and just have your liveys out and see how you go. And as long as the swell's not big, it's pretty safe to be in close in a bit of westerly. You're not too far out. But if the weather is kind enough to get out wider, the 36 fathoms, there's still dollies on the fads, but early. There's definitely snapper around on the 36s, heaps of trade due, some good parrots, some good pearlies on the backside of the 36 fathom reef. And on the 50 fathom reefs, again, heaps of pearlies, some really big snapper. Speaking to a couple of guys who have been out on Wednesday this week, and they got fish in that sort of like 80 plus centimetre size snapper. So the big snapper, as I said, they've come in just the last few days everywhere pretty well. So let's hope we can get it there on the weekend and give them a bit of a curry up. If you want to get and do some micro jigging, this sort of stuff here has been going really well in that sort of 30 to 40, 50 metre line, catching all types of demersals, snapper, cod, small like red rock cods, parrotfish, pearlies even, and even the odd jewie actually, but mostly snapper. So get yourself out some micro jigs, light gear, and slow jig it on the bottom with the kids. Are really good fun. Any of your Lacanis type jigs, the ball jigs with the skirt on the back, we've got those here as well. They work really well. The other thing to do would be to chase some tailor. If you're going to troll tailor, as long as the surf's not too big, you troll on the back of the waves. Trolling things like this type of thing. Also in the Broadwater and the pin area, also this will work as well. Even behind a ski, like a surf ski or a jet ski, dropping those at the back, troll them at about very fast pace. Feathers work well as well. This type of thing here is really good, and that's the type of thing you want to be using. But plenty of tail around, and some really big tailor. Estuary's out during the weekend fishing on the back of the surf. He got some really good fish up to that sort of 50s plus centimetre size, and bagged out really quick casting lures like this type of flash lures. These are a really good lure to use off the beach and out of the boat back to the surf for tailor. This type of thing here. And they're about 55 grams. They cast a mile, and they absolutely kick butt on tailor, big tailor. So give them a shot. They're Samaki product, great lure. The other thing too is the snapper. If you want a float line for snapper in close this weekend, definitely fish really small sinkers. There's a bit of current running to the north last weekend. I'm not quite sure what it's doing at the moment. It does change quite often. But we're using things like this type of rig here, which have little skirts attached, Lumo hooks, and running a pulley or a half pulley on that type of rig, and they get smacked on the way down. So you're just letting it fall out, and then or casting up current first, then they come down, bail arm open it and fall out, and then it just go 1,000 miles an hour to spool and click on and you're on a big snapper. And using a ball sinker, depending on the wind and current, if you're backing up, whatever, but anything from about a pea size up to about a size, sort of thumbnail size, depending on the current and the wind, but generally really small if you can. But that would be the go this weekend. I don't know if you get out wide because of the westerlies, maybe midweek. There's a couple of good days coming during the week. Wednesday next week looks really good at this stage, but that does change all the time. But if you can get out wide, there's heaps of flame snapper there, hungry as cod, plenty of kingies, and the fishing is really good out there as well, in that sort of 280 metre mark. A few blue marlin around as well, and there should be some yellowfin. There's a few upwellings at the moment, like a few quite tight pockets of current, and that might bring the odd yellowfin in early as well. Yeah, so give that a shot. Go on to the inside. Oh, sorry, spanner crabs. Okay, I went out spanner crabbing last Sunday morning. I should have been catching snapper right on the crack of daylight. We were putting out spanner crab pots at the crack of daylight, and we missed that bite, but my mate smashed it. Anyhow. We got some nice crabs, really good crabs, and I actually dropped the pots out just randomly everywhere from north to south to try and find them where they would be in that sort of area. It didn't matter where I dropped the pots, they all had crabs in them. So, and a good sized crab too. So plenty of spanner crabs. I actually tied a brick on. The other day I didn't tie bricks on, and my pots drifted about a K north in about 2 hours. So, and it's very hard to get the crabs when it's drifting. So if I still got crabs drifting, means there's plenty of crabs out there. So yeah, anchor them down, guys. Okay, we've got plenty of spanner crab pots here too if you're after any. That's probably it for offshore, so we'll jump inside now and have a fish. So up jumping area, plenty of tailor. Heaps of tailor on the top of South Estuary, inside and outside, and casting that same sort of type flash things off the beach, like that. Or your metals, the almond metals are our biggest seller by far. They do an awesome range of lures, usually using that 60 to 80 gram size lure off the beach, and yeah, they just spin up tail like you wouldn't believe. So we're fishing those early morning, mid-morning, late afternoon, preferably water coming over the bank and filling up the gutters, and that's when you want to be there. The bait comes into the gutter, the tail comes in the gutter, and they all feed together, and they just love that sort of thing. Especially a bit of sun up high and good flash, and very easy to catch the tailor. Just look for a good deep hole. There's plenty of whiting on the beach, there's plenty of dart, and quite a few bream as well. Whiting around Goldbank's been not too bad. Whiting at the end of that last lagoon's been good, and so the flatty's been good there as well. A couple of 80's been caught there last week or two in that lagoon, top end of South Stradbroke Island, most northern end, and also along Klinga Bank and over on the flats at the northern side of Crusoe Island's not too bad as well. This weekend, early morning high tide, very early. So it might be worth a crack on Goldbank as well. The tides aren't really big though, because they're sort of leading up to the moon, so getting bigger each day though, but give that a crack as well on the high tide if you get out there really early in the morning and have a fish on the flats before the water starts draining off it. Plenty of crabs around, still muddy's quite good. The sandies are starting to show up now. Plenty of prawns in the Logan and Redland Bay Channel, and I heard a few at Jackson's, which is at the northwestern corner of Russell Island's been not too bad as well. They do move around a bit this time of year, and it's getting towards the end. They're really big prawn, so that might be worth having a crack. I'll probably be out there Sunday morning, maybe having a go myself. At high tide early, and the run-out tide's a really good tide for them. So yeah, before it gets too cold, it's going to be cold. Hard to throw that net. The fingers get them working, but it'll happen. Give that a go. Back down the Broadwater in town. The garfish have been everywhere. They're really big garfish at the moment as well, like chunky ones. They're so good to eat, and then great baits as well, of course, for mackerel for next season, or late this season. I give them a go, and I would definitely be chasing those around back of Wave Break, opposite SeaWorld on the banks there, Lotus Creek, and maybe up around Crab Island as well, and fishing that early morning high tide and the first to run out. It's a great tide for garfish this weekend. We've got the garfish packs still here as well, with the burley and the floats and everything you need to get you going. Give that a shot, and we can teach you how to do it as well. Flatties, there's been a few on the north wall of the Seaway, a few down around Kurrajee and further up towards Aldershots, probably maybe to the most northern arm of Coombe might be worth a go shot at the front of that as well. good muddies at the front there still, but they are moving back up the rivers. So take your pots up the river a bit further, give it a shot overnight. And if you're sandy, start to show up around all the shots as well in the channels throughout there, and also down around the SeaWorld area, believe it or not, in the deep channel, on the edge of the channel there, and overnight's been best. A few whiting up the Nerang River still. I see young Wayne Young, you got some up there the other day as well. They're nice whiting up to sort of 35 centimetres, and they're along the beach too. But just as I said, watch that swell, supposed to pick up maybe, so the beach fisher might get a bit harder, but definitely worth a crack. There's a couple of really good holes at the moment where the SeaWorld car park is. If you walk out of the beach there and look up north about 300 metres to 500 metres, there's 2 holes that are right in close. They come right up to near the top of the sand dune. And those, once the water gets in over them a little bit, late afternoon, maybe around about 4 or 5 o'clock, or just a bit cracker, there's got to be tailor in there, and also obviously dart and whiting and bream. So give that a shot as well. If you're into casting some lures or trolling some lures for flatties and that, and bream and everything, we've got a special this weekend on all of our Fishcraft Samaki lures. These things are sort of up to about 20 bucks a pop, but we're doing the little ones, this sort of size here, poppers and stuff like that, for 3 for 30 bucks, which is about 30-something% off. And the bigger ones, which are that size there, which are normally around 20 bucks a pop, we're doing those 3 for 40 bucks, which is a good 30% off as well. Or a bit more actually. So there's a whole array of barrel lures and flatty shallow water casting lures, and there's surface stick baits which will catch tailor and stuff like that. There's all different styles. We've got lots of different colours and lots of different models. But yeah, little ones 3 for 30, big ones 3 for 40. Apart from that, in the Broadwater, the odd jack around, like the Seaway might be worth a go for dewies, especially that swell cranks up a little bit. Unfortunately today, one of our customers did send us through a picture of a boat, looked like a one of the American Trojan sort of side console boats doing laps around in circles off the beach. So hopefully the guy's okay. We've just come through before. And this was off, this is Friday afternoon, we're talking around about sort of 1 o'clock on midday. And it was off sort of looked like about maybe Kurrajee or Tipler's area. But on the surf side, there's boats doing donuts, and apparently there's people on the beach looking for that driver, and the people on the boats looking for the driver, but hopefully he's all good anyhow. Be careful out there guys, especially the swell increasing. I wouldn't do it unless you really know what you're doing. But when there's that westerly wind and it's flat, that's okay to go chase tailor from the boat back into the surf, but you've got to be careful waves. Someone's always got to be on the throttle the whole time while someone's casting up the front, unless you really know what you're doing, okay? Please be careful. The Hinds Dam is open as well, and the Western Ramp's definitely open. There's a few bass, a lot of little bass around, but heaps of them. But might be worth taking the kids out there for a troll, or casting some plastics around once that sun comes up, or spinner baits. Give that a shot. Just another thing too, I did hear today that the sand pumping jetty's open at the moment. I think it may close at 8 o'clock at night, I'm not sure, but it has been closed for quite some time, but I heard a rumour today that it's open again. So not quite sure on that one, but if that is the case, it would definitely be tailor off there over this weekend, I dare say. It'd be like a fish factory. Give that a shot. Anyhow, we are open 7 days a week, and we're here at number 8 Centreview Drive. Don't forget to follow us on Doug Burt's Fishing channel on YouTube and learn it's off there. And if you have any questions, welcome to give us a ring. We are doing a seminar next week on beach and estuary fishing. Beach and surf fishing, how to spin tailor, catching dart, whiting, all that stuff off the beach. Going to be a great evening. So that's next Thursday night on the 16th. And welcome to give the shop a call to book in. Thank you very much. Dougie Burt from Doug Burt's Tackle World here on the Gold Coast. Thank you, and be safe over the weekend. Bye-bye.